Dog Works Radio is sponsored by Alaska Dog Works. Check out their website at alaskadogworks.com.
Start your day tomorrow with The Daily Dog with Michele Forto, the morning podcast on Dog Works Radio. Apple Podcast reviewer Patty Christensen calls it funny, smart, and filled with all the info I want to know about dogs. I love this show. Wake up with The Daily Dog, available on Dog Works Radio on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your shows.
From Dog Works Radio, sponsored by Alaska Dog Works, professional dog training in Anchorage, Alaska. This is the Team Ineka podcast. On the show, we tell stories from the trail, race recaps, and of course, stories about our dogs. Visit our website at teamineka.com. Now, here are your hosts, Robert and Michele Forto.
On today's show, I'd like to take a moment and introduce you to one of the mushers, Robert Forto. Grew up a military kid and lived on both the East and West Coast before attending college at Portland State University in the early 1990s, studying to become a veterinarian. In the spring of 1994, his plans to become a vet quickly changed when he was introduced to Siberian Husky sled dogs and mushing in, of all places, Georgia. He was quickly hooked. Over the next decade, he quickly graduated college and moved to Duluth, Minnesota to mush dogs. In 1999, Robert met his wife-to-be, Michele, through a love of dogs and decided to move to Colorado to get married after a brief courtship and adopt her 3 kids, Kyle, Tyler, and Nicole. Robert introduced his new family to mushing, and they formed a team of mostly ragtag Siberians rescued from other kennels. They started racing but quickly found out that little kids in school and sled dogs didn't mix too well. In 2001, Robert was also dealing with a gambling addiction, which he had been battling for several years as a day trader in the tech stock market. His life spiraled out of control, and he was forced to deal with his past just as he was starting life with his new family. Over the next 6 years, with Michele, the kids, his in-laws, his family back east, and a handful of close friends by his side, Robert had to deal with the demons of his past. Michele became my rock. She is my most ardent defender, says Robert. She is the strongest woman I have ever met. In 2006, things had come full circle. By then, Robert and Michele had opened a successful dog training center and bought a home in Colorado, and the kids were doing great in school and excelling in sports. But he still dreamed of sled dogs. Over the next few years, Robert had paid back all those that were afflicted by his gambling, and they had saved enough money to chase that mushing dream. In March of 2010, Robert came up to Alaska to help his friend Hugh at the Iditarod start, and his dream began to become a reality. By July, he and his daughter Nicole went to Alaska, and they bought their new home in Willow. He let Nicole, then 12, make the decision to move to Alaska. She texted her mom, who was back in Colorado. "Mom, we are moving to Alaska." By August, Robert moved to Alaska while Michele and the kids stayed back in Colorado for a year to finish up work with their dog training clients. Robert worked for a kennel in the neighborhood for 2 winters and learned what he could about Alaskan mushing. Fast forward to Christmas 2011, the family was together again in Alaska, and they began building their kennel and their dream of one day running the Iditarod. "I know that my past will haunt me for the rest of my life, but I have done everything I can to redeem myself," says Robert. "All of us have skeletons in our closets, but life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." The 2012-2013 racing season was one of learning, trials, and tribulations for Robert and Team Ineka. While it was the first season on their own, their kennel was full of dogs that he had gotten from other mushing friends. He ran in only 3 races and had to scratch in 1. Stay tuned for the rest of the story after this short break.
Team Ineka and Robert Forto are training for the Iditarod and are looking for corporate and individual sponsors to help chase this dream. Running the race is the easy part. Proper year-round care can cost upwards of $30,000. From feeding, vet care, travel to races, and more, we give the dogs the best. There are several sponsorship levels to choose from. Check out our website at teamineka.com. We will see you on the trail. Mosh, you Huskies! Gee-haw!
2016-2017 was an interesting year for Robert. It was the first time in more than 20 years where Robert has a group of puppies and dogs that he has raised since puppyhood. This is the future of Team Ineka. A lot is riding on this still. He also coordinated an epic expedition with 12 of Alaska's emerging outdoor leaders. This week-long trip combined dog mushing, snow machining, and fat tire biking in the wilds of Alaska. It is under the banner Dream Chaser Leadership. Robert and his family knows there will always be questions about what happened more than 15 years ago. They are more than willing to answer any inquiries. One thing is for sure, any of the people that have gotten to know Robert and his family over the years have become some of his strongest supporters. As we always say, see you on the trail. For more ways to follow Robert or to read up about stories that he has written, you can follow Robert on his website at robertforto.com, on Twitter at robertforto, on Dogworks Radio, of course, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. We look forward to your inquiries and your questions if you have any. We also look forward to your comments. Thanks for listening to Team Ineka.
Did you know that Alaska Dog Works trains service dogs for those in need throughout North America? Each and every service dog that is trained through the Lead Dog Service Dog Program and Michele Forto and her team has an individual training plan. We train for autistic, mobility, psychiatric, and PTSD for our soldiers for service work. If you know of someone that may need a service dog, please take a moment and check out Alaska Dog Works on social media and at alaskadogworks.com.
If you like our podcast, there are a few things you can do. You can take a couple of minutes and go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also check out all of our Dogworks Radio sponsors and promotions in our show notes. Another thing you can do is go over to Facebook, like our Facebook page, and one last thing, please tell all of your friends by spreading the word about Dogworks Radio. Thank you so much for listening to us. We really appreciate you.
Dogworks Radio is produced by Robert Forto. Logo art by Angry Squirrel Studios. Dogworks Radio is produced in conjunction with KVRF 89.7 in Palmer, Alaska.
For dog training advice, you can contact Alaska Dogworks at 907-841-1686 or visit their website at alaskadogworks.com. If you have a show idea or would like to be a guest, please contact us by sending an email to live@dogworksradio.com.